Hello guys, my name is Harris and this is my 24 Toyota GR86. I just wanted to give you guys my honest thoughts and opinions on the car. This is my first time doing anything like this, so bear with me while we figure this out. I'm also just trying not to be awkward because people are driving past and I don't want to look like a weirdo. But this one is a 24 GR86 Premium, and what that entails on the outside, up front you'll have LED headlights that are steering responsive, the 18-inch wheels that come blacked out from Toyota. No fog lights on this, or no fog lights on any GR86. You can't really get those as a factory option. There aren't a ton of aftermarket options, if I'm not mistaken, for this, but for the BRZ there are. And you do have keyless entry, which is always nice to have. Going to the rear of the GR86, you will notice that the exhaust tips are blue. It's got an aftermarket catback that I already put on it. And then with the GR86, you do get the nice little duckbill. On the BRZs, this is not an option, unfortunately. I'm not too sure why, but I absolutely love the way it looks. And then to open the trunk, you have a button back here. Not a whole bunch of trunk space, and I'll cut you guys closer to it just so you can see. All right, cutting to the trunk of the GR86. There's not a ton of trunk space, like I said. Obviously, you don't expect that from a 2+2 coupe. Luckily, the rear seats do fold down. It's not a 60-40 rear split or anything like that. It's either just 100% up or 100% down. And then no spare tire either. It does come with a inflation kit where you get fix-a-flat and a compressor. But I have seen my coworker with a 22 plus BRZ. He somehow manages to fit a BMX bike in the back of it. I'm not too sure how, but props off to him, I guess. Going inside the GR86, you do not have a power passenger or driver's seat, just heated seats up front. Your 8-inch touchscreen with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. It is wired, not wireless, is something to keep in mind. You do have push to start, which is a super cool feature. I've never had that before. And blind spot detection on the Premium. For the GR86, I think the Limited for the BRZ comes with blind spot. Big difference on why I went with the GR86 instead of the BRZ. The BRZ has the tacky red stripe going down the middle of the seat. I don't like it. And I do think that the front bumper is a little bit more aggressive on the 86 than it is on the BRZ. But some main differences between the 22 and 23 model to the 24. I'll go ahead and show you that here real soon. It's not super huge, but some people like to make a big deal out of it. So the huge difference between the 23 and 24 model is going to be up on the windshield. You can't see it too well, but there are two cameras, one of them right here and the other one right here. That is called Subaru EyeSight. It's a pre-preventative braking system, so if the car notices you're going to get into an accident, it's automatically going to brake and try to avoid the collision. You do get adaptive cruise control and lane departure warning with that. Some people think it is the dumbest thing that Subaru has ever done to a car, put that on a manual transmission vehicle. I honestly don't mind it too much. I think having adaptive cruise is super nice and helpful. Some people just hate being told how to drive, I guess. But for a 22-year-old like myself, it's nice for insurance purposes, so I can't complain. Going underneath the hood of the 24 GR86, you'll be met with Subaru's 2.4-liter naturally aspirated boxer motor. I know that some people complain about the BRZ 86 platform not having the turbocharged engine like the WRX does. However, this is an entry-level sports car, is what some people fail to realize. You're not going to get a turbocharged four-banger for $33,000. You're going to be looking up north of $36,000, $37,000, which is still a lot of money, don't get me wrong. But I believe Subaru is saying that this makes 230 crank horsepower. I have seen some people put their stock BRZ 86s on the dyno and be at 225-ish wheel horsepower, which I do think that Subaru might be underplaying how much it actually has. Now, don't get me wrong, maybe a 10 horsepower difference isn't huge, but it's still something. A big thing with Subaru is safety, so if you ever do get into an accident, the engine is designed to drop down, which I find to be super cool, especially with how small this vehicle is. All right, now regardless of me being a very nimble man, sarcasm intended, I'm 6'1", weighing in at 187 pounds. It's not too bad to get into. Sometimes if there's a curb right here, it's a little bit more difficult to. The hardest part is, if I'm being realistic, is getting out of the vehicle. I don't know, I guess just I'm not as lumber as I used to be, but regardless, let's go ahead and go for a drive. All right guys, here we are in the GR86. Hopefully I'm speaking loud enough. I tried it with these microphones I bought off of Amazon, and everybody said they're the best sounding thing ever, but I think they kind of they sound like, I'm not going to say that word, but they don't sound good by any means. Just to give you guys a recap, we're going to talk about some things that I absolutely love with the GR86 and some things that I dislike, and a few things that I absolutely despise. From starting off with the positives, I love the seat, along with the seat bolstering. It hugs you. Whenever you're turning and cornering, it makes you feel nice and snug. These are heated seats as well, which is always a plus. I had them in my 2008 WRX, but they did not work the best, if I'm being quite honest. The driver's side didn't work at all, but the passenger side, supposedly, according to my lovely girlfriend, they warmed her up real nice. The 8-inch touchscreen is not bad. The audio quality is kind of terrible. There are some things that you can do in the equalizer to offset how bad it is, but I don't mind it. I mean, as long as it plays music, I guess. I do plan on upgrading the speakers, and I think there's a amp that you can plug into the back of the head unit that is supposed to help out with audio quality, but we'll see. I'm not too sure. I do have just over 308 miles on this car, and I am still getting used to how to drive it. I'm not perfect at driving this thing by any means, but I'm not too bad. But going into that a little bit more, I feel as if whenever I am shifting from second to third, it's like I'm not pressing the clutch in all the way and I'm jamming it into third gear. I'm not too sure if that is a common problem with the GR86 BRZ platform, but that's just kind of what I've noticed so far. It kind of hurts my soul every single time I shift from second to third. But skipping that, also let me know if you guys are having that issue too, or if it's just a skill issue, please. Thank you. You do have track mode, which disables your traction control and also changes the gauge cluster. I'm not going to lie, it looks super cool. I wish there was a way that you could just keep the track mode cluster on sometimes, but I'm sure with like a tune you can get that done or something. I'm not too sure. What else was I going to say? The bumpiness, as far as ride quality goes, it is a bumpy vehicle. It's a mid-level entry sports vehicle, so there's not too much you can expect there. I plan on putting a nice set of coilovers. I'm probably going to go with BC or Fortunatos. I'm not quite too sure just yet which one. A nice set of wheels. I'm thinking 18 by 9.5 with a plus 35, 38 offset. That seems to be what most people run and have success with. A nice set of Toyo R888s. I know those tires are not as amazing as everyone makes it seem, but I think the tread pattern looks cool. So as long as I like it, I guess. I'm not too sure. Another thing that I absolutely hate, it's not a dislike, it's a hate, is the fake engine noise that this thing emits. I think it is the absolutely dumbest thing that Subaru has ever done to a vehicle. I'm not too sure why they would do it. Luckily, you can unplug it, especially if you're not super mechanically inclined. It's just a one plug thing in the passenger side dashboard. And I actually plan to make a video doing that and showing you guys it, just in case you're curious to see or want to do it yourself. The inside, as far as quality goes, is actually super nice. I know most people rag on Subaru for not being the highest quality. I don't mind it. I mean, you have the Alcantara, or suede, I think they call it, here on the door panels and the seats as well. And once again, my seats are very comfy. Green light. But going on to the next conversation is going to be the power. As you guys know, this is a 2.4 liter naturally aspirated boxer motor. Came straight from Subaru. I think that Toyota advertises it to have 230 wheel horsepower, which isn't terrible by any means in a light, nimble car like this. They'll let you toss it around corners, have some fun. I haven't been able to get on it too much since I'm still within my break-in period, but as soon as that is up, I do plan to go have some fun. And a cool thing is, I believe that most people stock GR86 BRZ on the dyno, they're getting right around 225 wheel horsepower. So I do think that they're kind of downplaying how much power the engine actually produces. Now, don't get me wrong, 225 wheel isn't a lot either, but like I said, for a car that is as nimble and light as this, especially for the price point, you cannot beat that. But I think, oh no, actually there's one more thing I want to talk about. The 24 BRZ GR86 and WRX, especially if you have a manual transmission, are coming with these two cameras here. That is called Subaru EyeSight. It's a pre-preventative braking system. So if the car notices you're going to get into an accident, it's going to brake and try to avoid it or slow down impact. And there are a lot of purists that are not happy with that. For a 22-year-old like myself, I don't mind it by any means. The safer the better, if you ask me, especially with the adaptive cruise control and lane departure features that you get with that. I consider it to be a huge plus. I don't see what the big deal is, especially if you're daily driving the vehicle like myself. I know that whenever people are on the track, they're like, oh, I don't see how that would work on a track. You can disable it. I mean, you just go to settings. I think it's somewhere here. Car, EyeSight, and then pre-collision braking. You just turn it off. That's all it is. And I think Subaru actually recommends that you disable it if you're using it for track and autocross and whatnot. But yeah, no, that will actually wrap it up for the most part. If you guys have any questions, you can always feel free to comment down below. Thank you guys for watching. Have a good day.